Okay, so good morning, good afternoon. Thank you all for joining in. It's 12:30, 8 o'clock, or 9 o'clock if you are from Europe. So thank you all for joining in. This is the 18th episode of free Intune training provided by How to Manage Devices community. And in this week, we've been going through Windows or Intune Win32 application deployment scenarios, and probably this is the last session we will be looking into it, right? Probably I will cover a PowerShell script deployment scenario also today. Okay, before that, let's get started. I hope you all can see my screen and hear me properly.
Yeah, yes, Anand.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, that was not expected. Anyways, okay, so yesterday what we did is we basically deployed an application language pack through using Intune Win32, right? And today probably I want to show something that is something tricky. Probably it would be helpful for your automation scenarios, right? If I click on F8, I'm sorry, F12 from this screen, right? I'm in this portal now, and if I click on F5, okay, so there will be a screen coming. So this is the development tool or something like that, right? So it will be helpful to get the details, background details, what this particular portal is doing, right? So for example, if I click on edit over here, right, it will feel like it, you can see over here by clicking like what it is doing, right? In the graph API what it is doing. So this will be really helpful for you in the in terms of automation, right? You can get the URI details, graph API details, and you can try to automate it if you are kind of an automation engineer or something like that, right? So, and if you like to make a lot of scripts or something like that to automate this kind of a process, application deployment process, you can do that, right? if I for example, what do you want, if I want to change this, right, app install force, right, then I will say save. Okay, so as you can see, those details are already over here. What is the request when to power graph API, and what is the backend server service is doing, right? All those details will be over here. So this F12 key from the portal will help you to understand in details, right? If you want to do some R&D or troubleshooting also, in terms of troubleshooting, sometimes it will help, right? For probably, for example, if you are trying to upload an application and it's not happening, right, it's pending, and it's not getting completed, probably you can try this method and try to find out the graph API URL, and then probably you can try to troubleshoot from graph API side, right? So this is the URL which I was talking about, right? Graph API. Say you can see graph.microsoft.com, beta, device management, those things, right? So that would be helpful for you in some scenarios. So I just wanted to show that, right? So it's just F12. You just need to press F12 from here, right? It will open up. Let me try that again, right? So F12, right? And if I go back and if I try to add an application, right? Select, add an application, you can see like it already sent the information, what is the scope of my user, etc., etc., right? If I try to upload an application, it is all populating over here, right? I will try to upload this again, right? So this is okay, this is not working. Probably it identified that like I already used it or something. Probably CM trace he can try. I don't know if that will work or not. Okay, that is also not working. Probably it identifies that it's a duplicate data or something, right? Okay, I don't know. Normally it should work, but this time it's not working. Anyways, we tried this. So yeah, just wanted to show that thing from the portal. So that is really helpful, right? So now let me move on to the client side, right? On the client side, we looked at the log files yesterday, right? There are log files like Intune Management Extension, Agent Executor, Client Health, and Intune Management Extension. Other one, right? Hyphen. If the log starts with hyphen or underscore, that means that's a old log, right? And this is the current log. The latest one is without underscore, right? The one with underscore is the old log, right? Okay, so basically what you can do if you want to troubleshoot, and we didn't talk about agent executor log yesterday, right? That is basically for the PowerShell script execution and all, as per my understanding. We will check that today while we do the PowerShell script execution through IntuneWin 32, right? Okay, so let me show you one more troubleshooting tip over here. So basically, if you go to I don't know how many of you use registry hypes like this, right? So you can, for example, right, you can say Microsoft like this, right? This is really helpful, right? Rather than going through like every node over here down and browsing it, you can use this method, new method, right? Okay, so Intune, I will say Intune management extension, right? So this is the registry hive for Intune management extension, and I will say like okay, I want to see something like sidecar policies or reboot settings, right? Or Win32 application settings, right? So I recommend you to go to these registry entries and check what are the entries over there, right? What are the download jobs it did, right? All these downloads are happening through do, right? Delivery optimization by default. Intune is using delivery optimization service and downloading it, right? If you have not enabled delivery optimization, probably it is downloading it from directly from the storage, right? Okay, so for example, if you want to check give me a sec. For example, if you want to check what is the status of this particular job, right? Let me copy this job, download job, and go to logs, right? And probably you can open up this old log, copy of it. I don't know how why it's taking so much of time. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, 0 KB. Oh, great. So it copied, but it didn't do anything. Okay, so I think it already got overwritten or something. That log, yeah, I think. Okay, so that is why I can't see that job entry. So let me try some other thing. So I will avoid that underscore one, right? And I will open up the log again, Intune Management Extension log, and I will search with this download job, right? Okay, so I can find that. So it says destination path incoming, and this is the file, right? So let me do one more time, right? F3, right? F3, and it says, right? What we can do better is, give me a sec. I'm trying to search file option over here, filter, and I will filter. Come on, no. It's unzipping the application, right? Where is the registry hive? Let me copy that, this one, right? And I will filter it. I will say contains, okay, and I will say okay. So there are a lot of entries related to that particular download job, right? So you can check what is happening over here, what are the details, what are the details it's getting checked, etc., etc., right? So this is very kind of detailed kind of troubleshooting. If you would, if you want to do detailed kind of troubleshooting, you can use this method, right? You can use the registry entry, or you can use different permutations and combinations to troubleshoot, right? As you can see, like lot of data is available here, right? Inventory data. If you want to check something about the reporting and troubleshoot something about the reporting, you can do that, right? And you can see like Azure AD, my Azure AD login details are here in the registry, right? So this could be one of the checks it is doing, right? Somebody asked, I think on the first day of Win32 application or second day of Win32 application training, that it is not showing Azure AD registered devices in the report. Why? Probably this is one of the reason, right? Probably Win32 application uh, will check whether there is any AD user present in the Windows 10 device. If it is present, then only it will proceed and request for the policy, Intune Win32 policy, right? So that this is one of the important registry hive over here. So lot of data over here. I'm not going to go through all of those. So you can see complaint state message, right? You can see like and enforcement state message, etc., right? If you are similar with SCCM application model, this is almost this is similar to that, right? And it's not same, I would say. Again, I had mentioned this before also, right? It's not the same, but there are a lot of similarities between both, right? Okay, so let me go back to console now, portal now. Again, using SSCM or configuration manager methods, right? Or wordings over here. So if I want to deploy PowerShell, now where I can do that, right? So I mentioned PowerShell script is also deployed using Intune Win32 deployment model or Intune Management Extension service, right? So do you think I can deploy it from here? Plus, if from application, so I don't like this method. So probably I will go with the platform, because that will avoid lot of options, right? Over here on the left hand side. Okay, so click on add, and let's see where is the PowerShell option. It's basically not there, right? So this is not the place for the PowerShell, right? So let's close this, and let's go to devices, right? So devices, in devices, if you again select the platform, now you can see scripts, right? Or in the first day one, we had gone through the the nodes of Intune Portal, right? All the nodes of Intune Portal, and we had an overview of all the nodes, right? If you are part of that presentation, that episode, then you would be able to, like, you are aware of this already, right? So before starting this, right, I will just enable that F12 F12 thing, development tool. So it will be interesting for you to check out, right, what is happening. Okay, so I'm going to click on Windows, right? And in Windows, you would be able to see PowerShell scripts, right? If I go back to devices, you can only see the scripts over here below, down below, right? Because that is for all the platforms, right? So if you want to deploy Mac OS scripts, you can do that. If you want to do Windows deploy scripts, then it's PowerShell scripts, right? So that is why if I click on Mac OS, then I can see shell scripts, right? So that is why this platform per platform view is very helpful in my day-to-day job, right? So I will always select the platform which I want to work, right? I say like Windows, and then I can see the PowerShell scripts. It's not showing shell scripts, right? Shell scripts is only for Mac OS devices. Okay, so as you can see, a lot of details are like Intune is using this portal is using Power Graph API and sending a lot of data, right? So it's really interesting to see that, right? Let me close this, okay, and let me open this again, right? So we will get the fresh data about PowerShell, right? So click add, and I will say probably time zone change, right? Time zone change, okay. And I'm as I always say, like the please provide description, right? PowerShell script or one liner basically to change time zone, right? Time zone, okay. And as you can see, like it's role scope, it's check my scope whether I'm allowed to do it or not for this particular thing, okay. So I'm going to say next, right? and and it is asking for a PowerShell script location, right? So if I go back over here on my source, in my source folder somewhere, this is my time zone change. Okay, so this is the script which I'm going to use, because at the moment, if you look at my device, right, if I check the time zone, right, it says UTZ. I feel, if I'm not wrong. Okay, it says UTC, but I'm based out of England now, right? So it should be BST now, right? Or GMT, right? But it's not like that. Okay, so I wanted to change this. So there's a one-liner in PowerShell. I am not expert in PowerShell, so probably I'm doing something stupid for PowerShell experts. In terms of if you are a PowerShell expert, you might see this as a silly example. Okay, so let's open up. So this is the command which I'm going to run. This is a PowerShell command or PowerShell script, I can say, to change the time zone, right? So I'm going to do this, run this PowerShell script from the portal, right? I'm going to select that particular PowerShell script, right? Okay, I'm going to say, so notice that we are not converting this PowerShell script to IntuneWin format, right? You can directly deploy a PowerShell script. Okay, so time zone change, and I will say okay, right? Now it's uploading the upload completed, right? Upload completed, it says, right? You can see the entries over here if you check, right, what happened and how it is going to happen, right? So there are three important options over here. Okay, let me close this, right? There are three important options over here. One is run the script using the logged on user credentials, right? So if you want to run the script with the logged on user credentials, you can use that, right? if you say yes, then it will enable that. Otherwise, by default, the system, it will be installed on a system with the system credentials. You can see, hover over here and you can see the details, right? Okay. Enforce script signature check. If you want to enforce a signature check, then you can do that. By default it's off, right? Normally I follow all the default settings, right? I- if unless and until we have a special requirement to change it, right, as per your organization standard or something like that, right? And the third one is interesting one. And I think Vimal has a blog post about this. What are the things you need to take care when you deploy Win32 Win32 applications, right? Trying to deploy Win32 application which has like a 64-bit uh, scenario exam kind of scenarios like that. If it's a 64-bit application, what we can do and what are the complexities of that, how to overcome that. He explained that in his blog post very clearly, right? So this is not that related to that blog post, but this is another interesting option, right? If you hover over here, you will be able to see like what it is doing, and what we can do with 64-bit PowerShell host, right? If you have a requirement to run PowerShell as a 64-bit, you can do that, right? Change it to yes and do it, right? In my scenario, I'm going to stay with the default settings and click on next, right? And over here, right, you can see the assignment scenarios, right? You can see like you can assign the script to all the devices, all the users, right? As per Microsoft documentation, I can see many scenarios. They will say like, it is better to deploy applications and um, PowerShell scripts if there is a requirement to all users, right? But I know like in a real world scenario, it's not feasible, right? We don't want to change the time zone of all the devices in your organization, right? If if those devices are from different time zones, right? So yeah, in some scenarios it's helpful. And why Microsoft is saying, because they don't want to create multiple Azure AD groups, multiple dynamic Azure AD groups, and deploy, like for example, in SCCM world, we use for each deployment we create a different collection, right? And we will create. We probably for each deployment or each application we will create the three collections. One is install, one is uninstall, and one is something else, right? So that is kind of getting into like a lot of kind of performance issues with those kind of scenarios, right? In SSEM, if we create a lot of collections, but in Intune also, right, we are using Azure AD dynamic groups, and that will get into a lot of performance issues, right? If your tenant is having a lot of Azure AD groups and it's continuously evaluating the groups, those are dynamic groups, etc., right? So we want to avoid that kind of a scenario situation in future. Not now, probably it's not a case now. Probably in future, probably we will have like I don't know, for example 600 application, and you have 1200 Azure AD groups, right, dynamic groups to manage those application in Intune. Probably that we will hit into uh, a performance issue in terms of Azure AD and Intune performance. So Microsoft is from day one, Microsoft is suggesting you to use all these features, right? If the application is deployed to all the users, right? For example, if your organization is deploying an application to all the users, right? Then you don't need to create a dynamic group to collect all the users, right? You can just use this one, right? Rather, so that is the idea behind this option. Okay, so let's move forward and click on select groups to include, right? So I will say I will deploy this to my company owned devices, right? Because this is again only applicable for Azure AD joined devices, not registered devices, right? So I will say company owned device, that is company owned device. And before saving this, I will again check company owned device. Yeah, I have only two. I confirmed, yeah, this is the correct Azure AD group, rather than deploying to it to all the devices in my organization, right? And you can select exclude. If you want to exclude some particular groups, you can do that, right? So that's fine. And you can see like there is no options over here, right? Like toast notification option, which we had seen in for Win32 in Intune Win32 application, right? PowerShell script, it's not there to hide the toast notification, and scheduling option is not there. In Intune Win32 application, we had seen a scheduling option, right? As soon as possible, you can deploy a mandatory as soon as possible, and you can schedule a particular time in that model. But in this, it's not enabled yet. Probably it will be coming soon. I don't know. Uh, Otherwise, you can raise a user voice item to to have a schedule option or rerun option for the scripts, right? At the moment, rerun option is also not there, right? So uh, let's click next and see what is going to happen now. So let's review it, right? All these are basic settings, and I'm going to say add. Then I'm going to press again F12. Let's see what is happening, right? Nothing much happened because we opened that after uploading, right? It's they says extension, nothing much. Delegation feature, nothing much. Okay, so let me go back to the client mission. This is the client mission, and to get the new policies, right? I need to restart the service, otherwise I need to wait for an hour, right? It's 60 minutes. Every 60 minutes the Intune management extension will pull the policies, new policies. So it's it's now downloading probably some of the content, if it is getting the details, right? So let me open up this log file and see what is happening there, right? So this is Intune Win32 proxy. Okay, that's fine. And let me check what is happening in the log file over here, right? PowerShell script policy stopped. Okay, it's generating. Okay, I think it's going to take time. Probably it stopped and it's going to restart now. So while we wait for this, can we have questions, please, if you have any? Are you guys able to hear me? PowerShell script executed successfully. No questions for today? That's great.
Hey Anup, Kayum.
Okay.
Since no one is asking you questions, maybe I can take this opportunity.
Yeah.
I remember you mentioned that we run this PowerShell script on Azure AD joined devices.
Uh-huh.
If there is, for any reason, you need to deploy this on Azure AD registered machine, we can, right? Or there's something we are limited from Microsoft.
Yeah, it's a limitation from the Microsoft side, so we won't be able to do that at the moment. That feature is not enabled yet.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, no worries, man. Okay, so
Anup, Harish here.
yeah, Harish.
Uh, uh, for this, we don't have to convert anything. So let's assume we are deploying an application, a complex application through a script. Which is the best option? We have EXEs, it's just not a script. Along with that, we have some EXEs, let's assume that we have to deploy PDF. So in that case, we have to use Win32 method, or how is that? I mean, in this case, it's just a command. We are running a script. but where we had to call an exe through PowerShell script and then install it. For that, we had to go back and use Win32 app. The other day, we did the same thing yesterday, right?
So basically, right, this is the limitation, right? So if when we went through this, right, let me do it again, right? So here you will get you can have only one option, right? One file can be selected from here, right? If you have multiple files, then again that means you need to basically go back to that IntuneWin conversion process and go through all those logics, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah,
This only in the case of just running a script, probably changing some settings on the system, this will work. But in case you want to install an application or something through
exactly.
PowerShell script, yeah.
Exactly. That is what, like, I did the same thing for the Intune management. Sorry, if I can go back over here, language pack, right?
Okay.
In the language pack script, I was using one PowerShell command, right? So if you
Okay.
see that, right, this is the PowerShell command which I used.
Okay.
So it's the same thing, right? If we have that kind of a scenario, you need to use the
Win32.
Intune Win 30. Yeah.
Yeah. Fine.
Okay, so if there is no questions, probably we can finish off today, and we will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Thank you all for joining in.
Thank you, Anu.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks all. Thanks, Anup. Bye.
Thanks, Anup.